All right, folks, welcome back to Guitar Radio Show. As you all know, I love instrumental music. It's my favorite thing to listen to. Um, and what a lot of people don't know that there is enough instrumental music on planet Earth that you could listen to all of it and not hear the same song twice for 10 years.
Not longer, I think for forever.
You would think, right? But it's actually 10 years. I actually did the math. Was kind of when I was pitching this show to Sirius, which is still getting pitched. Uh, I
Cool.
I put that in there. And I was like, you don't have to have such a tight playlist.
Yeah.
You can get it.
Dang.
You can get in there. Um,
I didn't
but
realize
um,
that.
but yeah. So everybody who listens to the show, they hear me ad nauseum saying how much I love Jeff Beck and how much I love Pat Metheny and Jim Campolongo
Yeah.
and these people. And when I heard the Ballad of Hot Spur, I was like, oh, I've got a new favorite.
Oh, thank
And
you.
please welcome to Guitar Radio Show, Dr. Molly Miller. How are you, Molly?
Hi, I'm good. Yeah,
I
I'm
got to
good.
tell you, you're right up there with Pat. You're right up there with Jeff and Jim. And
Dang.
yeah,
Thank you.
your playing, your structure, your song sensibility is what really grabs me. Um, it's I mean, I believe it or not, I used to be in an '80s hair band. Um,
I do believe it. There's less believable sentences I've heard.
and I was always like the rhythm, mostly playing rhythm, some leads. Um, but I was mostly the rhythm guy. I was the principal songwriter. I'm addicted to the riff. Um, and
Cool.
I sang, and I was a singer. Um, so I was never a shredder.
Okay.
And the guys that I've just mentioned, along with you, you're not shredders, although you can if
Yeah.
necessary, but you're not you're whole musicians, not
I
the one dimensional. How far can I get from this part of the fretboard to that part of the fretboard? And honestly, if you think about it, like, and I'll let you talk in a minute, I promise.
No, I'm listening. It makes sense.
when you
Yeah.
listen to Eddie Van Halen, like his solos were the songs within the song,
Yes. But I mean,
and
every solo should be a song in
it
in a
should
sense.
be.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it should be. Absolutely. And that doesn't always happen in
Mm-mm.
certain styles of music. And that drives me crazy. It's like, okay, this is not about athletic ability. This is should
No.
be about the music. How do we it's like Ringo's drum. People say, oh, Ringo wasn't such a great drummer. No, he was the best drummer
Yeah.
because he played for the song.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
the most musical drummer, probably,
I mean, yes. I
from a
mean, we should
song
be playing
standpoint.
for the song. It shouldn't like
Yeah.
the battle with the ego, you know? Don't let the
Yeah.
ego win.
Yeah.
Let the
Absolutely.
song win.
Yeah. So I'd be remiss if I didn't start with this. Please, folks, go to mollymiller.com right after you
Molly
listen
Miller
to this.
music,
Sorry,
sorry.
Molly, I wrote it down too, Molly.
It's it's a
mollymillermusic.com.
mouthful.
I'm only on my second coffee, so
I'm on my first matcha, so that's okay.
okay.
But you're a couple hours ahead, so
Yeah. Um, so there's a new single. It's called Hopes Aren't Dreams. That just came out last week, I think it was.
yeah, just a few days ago. And
Yeah.
every 2 weeks, I'll have a new single coming out for the next whatever, 7 times 14 weeks.
That's great. I think that's really smart. We've been talking a lot about that on this show about because of the white noise of the world we live in now.
Yeah.
I'm actually reading this amazing book on marketing called Hook Point: How
Okay.
how to get noticed in a 3-second world. Yeah,
God,
that's the algorithm. Yeah,
I mean, I believe it.
yeah, it's crazy. So like with Meta, your algorithm is 3 seconds. So if you put out a video or whatever kind of content you're putting out there, you've got 3 seconds to capture that person. And then Meta goes, well, you didn't do that, so we're going to put you in the back hopper.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's so hard. I hate having to live in that reality, but I know it's the reality, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's like, I just want to like
Well,
believe something different, but I know it's not true.
I've decided to look at it from the vantage point of, all right, I have to reach inside myself and find another level of creativity to spark that interest.
Yeah, I kind of go a different way where I'm like, I'm just gonna be kind of detached and be like, okay, I know what works and I know what doesn't, and just this is a character on the internet, you
So you're,
know? It's like there's different, that we're multi-dimensional human beings. And I'm like,
yes,
let me just be that one dimension of a person, and I'll be the full Molly or other versions of the Molly somewhere else.
I
I
like
get
that.
totally.
I like that. The full Molly. I like
Should that be
that.
my next record? I don't know the title of
That,
my next record.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was thinking with the Ballad of Hotspur, which I absolutely love and is on constant rotation.
Oh, thank you.
Um, it's just such a good record. The first song, is it called Sign? Is that how it's pronounced? Or
It's funny. No, well,
or is
it's
it
Cine.
Kind?
Cine is what we say. I should have actually put an E on there. Now that I'm talking with you, I was like, wow, that would have made it a lot easier because like that makes more sense. But what it is some of the songs Jen Condos and I wrote together, and like really Jen, Jay, and I would work together on all the music.
Right.
Some songs I would be like fully fleshed out and I'd bring in and I'd be like, here's the song and whatever we do it together. And sometimes Jen would send me a section or I would send her a section and we'd like, each write a section and put the song together. And Jen sent me a little ditty. And it was like cinematic was what she was like saying. And it was like Cine for short, Cine. So we just always called it Cine, like cinematic, but I totally should have put that little, whatever it's called over the E.
Yes. Well, the first time I heard it, I was like, I heard the intro. I was like, "Ooh, this is great! Oh man,
Mm,
I love that swing. I love that feel, that shuffle kind of a vibe going on."
yeah.
And then I was going, I'm waiting for John Hyatt to start singing. You know, I
Uh-huh.
could totally like if there were lyrics to this, and I know you probably weren't going for that at all.
Well, what happened was this is like the depths of COVID. Like this record, I mean,
Hmm.
it's like no one wants to talk about COVID, myself included. But some
I
of this
talk about it
music,
every day.
it's like, remember that time? Um, I was um I was like so depressed. Obviously, we all were. I was like, my life. I was supposed to be in like this city. Like I had every day. I would like look at my calendar and be like, I was supposed to be in whatever, fill in the cool city. It's Maui. Maui was the first trip that got canceled. I was
Oh
so sad.
man. Oh
Whatever.
man.
All my woes. And I called Jen, who's much wiser than me. I was like, boo hoo, me, whatever. And she was like, Molly, you know what? Use this time to write music. Like, don't be like, do something productive. Enjoy the chill, like, enjoy the silence or like the quiet moment, and let's make a record. And she was like, let's do a Western record. I was like, cool, because I was into some of the songs were kind of leaning towards that, this sort of like Americana surf, like more Coney vibes. She's like, let's just write some tunes like that. And it wasn't even necessarily for the Molly Miller trio, but then a bunch of these songs became records on the trio. So we were kind of in that vein of music, looking to do that sort of thing. So that
Mhm.
was the impetus for some of the songs.
Yeah, and it's an interesting record because it really kind of is a departure from your previous records. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I guess because I was there for the whole thing, it's like I see the progression.
It's you. It's you.
So yeah, I mean, it's for sure different. And then even this next record that I've been thinking about, like they all, yeah, like I see that I see how they're all different. They're shifts, of like different explorations of things. Um, yeah, because they all feel like periods of my life, where I was working on something and ideally, you know, representing the moment. And I also ideally getting like more coherent at expressing myself, like that's kind of always my goal is being
Mhm.
as clear as possible in what I'm trying to say and what I'm
Mhm.
trying to get you to feel.
Right. Well, it's actually, I heard you in an interview that I really enjoyed with our buddy Rhett Shull. And
Cool.
you were like about talking about instrumental music and how it should be, and I mean, there was a time in America where instrumental music was, the thing, you know.
Yes.
I mean, I was very close to Les Paul before his passing back in the
God.
80s. And
Yeah.
he would always talk about that and how, like literally, with the house in Queens that they had where he had the studio, the house wired up with everything, and he literally had a microphone at the kitchen sink. So
Oh my God.
Mary, or Colleen's her real name, could be either washing dishes and she could cut a vocal right there. You know, yeah, isn't
Wow.
that wild? He had the
I'm
whole
so
house
jealous
wired
you
for sound.
you got to see that and wow, and get to
Yeah,
know him because
no, he was a
yeah,
trip. He was a
I
trip.
love his
Yeah,
guitar playing and his music, obviously. And
yeah.
hey, Les Paul right there.
There you go. There it
And
is.
actually, I have the Mary Ford model
Do you?
behind. I have it right behind my couch. Yeah, I need to get it
Yeah,
set up.
that's a great guitar. She was something. I mean, honestly, I don't think Les Paul would have been. I mean, he would have been fine working with Bing Crosby and all those sessions that he did and everything else. And I think he would have definitely made a great living, but he wouldn't
Yeah,
have been Les Paul without Mary Ford. It had to happen that way.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, who knows? But yeah, I mean that I love their music together,
Oh, it's
and they're
amazing.
such a dynamic duo.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you talked about instrumental music and how it, it's never not been back. It's always here. It's in the zeitgeist. It's just not
Yeah.
always in the forefront of people's consciousness.
I know it does feel like a cool moment though. I yeah, like there's this slogan that we'll always say we're bringing the instrumentals back because like you said in the beginning, like there is really a focus on the song and the arrangement and the
Hmm.
subtlety of parts, not just shredding. Like everything you said, I was like, yes, that's what we're going for, you know.
Right.
Um, but wait, was I don't bring in the instrument. Oh yes, there is a moment like there like Krungbin. I feel like
Yeah.
there is sort of just like a moment where there Gutierrez or Manos Gutierrez, like where there are bands that are kind of doing instrumental music that are
Hmm.
playing festivals alone. Like there are some instrumental bands that are being celebrated right now and playing at like popular festivals. So it
Yeah.
feels exciting that
Yeah.
that's happening.
I just got turned on to a guy just the other day. I don't know how he came up in my algorithm, but he's a guitar player from Brooklyn.
Mm.
His name is Wyatt Lewis.
I don't know him.
I had never heard of him before, and he's got a new single out now, and he did a couple of other singles, and he had a full length record back in 22, I think it was. So
Okay.
I immediately reached out, but it's all of him. It's all about this groove, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the description of him was they were trying to tag him with jam,
Okay.
but I don't
Yeah.
hear that. I didn't hear that at all. I heard Steve Cropper. I heard,
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean?
Booker T and the
Booker
MGs.
T. Yeah, absolutely.
God.
Yeah.
Ramsey Lewis, like that sort of
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and nobody shouts out enough Donald Duck Dunn. Nobody shouts out enough. I mean,
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, yeah, I really do feel like there is a resurgence of this. And but the thing is, sometimes people I feel like have to register it as like jam music or jazz. But there's like this whole world of
yeah.
like songs and music and whatever you want to call it, Americana, R&B, um, instrumental music, where it's like it
Right.
is not just a jam and it's not jazz.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I wish, my daughter who's a musician, um, she said to me, she says, I wish we could just kill genre.
Yes,
Just
I
kill the
know.
labels, kill it all, and just have it be this one thing. I said, you mean like a buffet table? She's like, yeah, yeah, why not? And I'm like, because when I do partake in a buffet table, which is very rarely, but when I do, I'm not going to load up on just the Swedish meatballs, right? I want a little bit of everything. I want to, my palate, wants to be
Yeah,
satisfied with all these things that I've envisioned on the table,
I
you know,
know.
And the same thing with our ears, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's always funny when like it feels like a question that I don't get as much anymore. Of like, what's your favorite? Well, no, I still get it. It'll be like, what's your favorite music to play? And I'm just like, I can't guitar. Like, like that's my favorite music is music when I get to play the guitar,
Yeah.
because it is like it could be R&B, it could be country, it could be folk, it could be like, but also they're all just blending so much to me now too,
Right.
because there's so many different influences. I understand we need to register things, like humans just inherently need to put things in boxes to be
Hmm.
like, this is how I register it in my brain.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, I hate having to answer what genre I'm in or like
Yeah.
genres I play, or it's
Yeah.
just like I play any music that has guitar, you
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was driving last night, and I'm going through all the different presets I have on my satellite radio. And I went from 70s to 80s to uh, Dwight Yoakam's Bakersfield Beat
Cool.
to yacht rock
Okay.
to, which I hate that term, but
I do hate that term too.
I do. I really hate it
Because
because,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, you know, and
it
I
has
know,
such a
oh,
negative
yeah.
connotation, but like, yeah. And also yacht rock, I had this fight, like, what is yacht rock? To me, it's like Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers. But then my friend was like, "Oh, it's Beach Boys." I'm like, "Beach Boys are not yacht rock." And he was like, "I
Well,
think
maybe
it's a
Kokomo.
yes, yeah. I don't. It just I feel like it's like not. Yeah, it's an unclear term with a negative connotation.
It is, yeah. I mean, I know Donald Fagen hates the term in a big way.
Yeah.
There's a great film about it, about yacht
Mm,
rock on HBO. That's
okay.
really really interesting.
I'm gonna watch it.
Um,
I Yes, I will watch it. I just listened to the Jeff Baxter interview with Rick Beato, and it
yeah,
got me. And I was kind of like, yeah, it got me thinking about it, all that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
music.
So you know, when we're talking about this whole idea of blending,
Hmm.
um, you know, do you think you can blend jazz with anything?
I mean, yeah. Well, also like jazz is a funny term. You know,
Right.
what does it mean? Like, so I don't really consider myself a jazz guitar player per se. I play jazz guitar, but like it's all because I just play guitar and I study jazz. I mean, I play jazz, but I don't like to call myself a jazz guitar player because it's such a box. That's just not true. Is And even within guitar, like or any music, is it's there. It's such a big umbrella. It's like pop music, really. Is it
Yeah.
fusion? Is it smooth? Is it bebop? Is it swinging? It could just be a one jam groove. It could be the blues. Like it's just massive.
Right.
And so, and what is it that you're playing changes? Is it advanced harmonic calories or whatever? Because then you
Hmm.
could say, is Steely Dan really kind of like pop jazz? Because of some of their harmony choices.
Hmm.
Um, and then is Steely is Stevie is Steve what am I kidding? Oh, Stevie Wonder is Stevie
Hmm.
Wonder smooth jazz? Like it's just
Yeah.
like that's like I think what we were saying about the genre thing. So yeah, I think sure jazz in quotations can be blended with anything,
Yeah.
but because it kind of could be a lot of different things. It could be playing changes.
Hmm.
It could be hitting all the changes. It could be swinging. It could
Hmm.
be the blues. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, I'm a huge blues fan. I love the blues. I love, you know, all the way back to, field hollers, I mean, all that stuff is incredible. But sometimes I think what happens over time, especially with the blues, I've noticed is that it becomes variations on a theme, and then there's no inventiveness. It's just kind of like, okay, well, is
Mm,
somebody going to do something with this that's going to be not just the same old thing,
yeah,
and beating it, beating it like a rug, you know.
I know.
And the last two albums I think that Gary Clark Jr. has done has really, really kind of made me go, oh, okay, here's some hope. We can,
That's cool.
we can go to
I
that place. And that's how
I
I
need to
felt about
listen to it.
Hotspur, is that you were melding other forms of American music
Yeah.
into that genre and taking that genre to another place. Sort of like what Pat did too in 78, 77, 78, or even when he was playing with Gary Burton, in that was that a quartet? That was a quartet, right? Or was it a trio? It was a quartet. Yeah. Um, but yeah.
I'm that is honestly like, yeah, what you're saying is really the goal of the music, is not to be is like the focus on the song. And of course I come from a jazz background, and like what I'm going to be playing is deeply influenced by that. And so there's jazz weaves throughout it, but Jen's not a jazz bass player, and
Mhm.
Jay, more so, but like he's not a they're neither of them are like he's not a jazz drummer, and she's not a jazz bassist. We're all just interested in creating songs and creating music
Mhm.
and interactive music.
Mhm.
Interactive music where there's a focus on the song and the
Mhm.
arrangement. Like I think of it more akin to like Booker T and the MGs or Ramsey Lewis or something. Maybe some Paul Desmond. I don't know,
Mhm.
depending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Dave Brubeck. Like some of those influences were in there too, for sure. But then it's just also like folk music. I don't know. Yeah, the genre
Yeah.
thing's funny for me. I just set up this tour. Oh, yeah. I'm doing a little tour in June.
Yeah. I have that
Um,
here. Yep.
and everyone's always like, what genre are you? And I'm like, when I went through the Ballad of Hotspur, the like promoting that, um, I was calling it Americana surf jazz, I think was the term,
Oh, I
you
love
know?
that.
Yeah, it was kind of
That's
like,
great.
but like now there's actually kind of a different iteration of the trio. Like, I'm still playing with Jen and Jay a ton, but for this tour, and all the upcoming live music that's coming out these next 14 weeks, some of the songs are solo guitar, but the trios with Tamir Barzilai on drums and Andre De Santana on bass. I spent last summer playing with them. We all tour with Jason Mraz together, and they're some of my closest friends. I've known them for a long time. We've played together a lot. So the new trio and the tour is with them, and so it's a different expression. We'll play the same song, but it's just a different expression because they're different musicians. And I think one of the joys of playing music with different people is getting them involved,
Mhm. Mhm.
and celebrating whoever I'm playing with, and getting that expression of the music. So the music is kind of groovier, a little heavier. I feel like some more influenced by like Hendrix, and it's just a different expression of the music. Yeah, a little more groove and rock, I'd say, funk and rock, a little bit more of that with still all the other things I've been doing.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a different expression. So now I was like, they're like, what do you call yourself? And I was like I, bleh.
Yeah, but I like that. Americana surf jazz. I want that on a t-shirt. You
Let's
know?
see what we can do about it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. You know, that's great. I mean, yeah, it's interesting what you said about, now you've added these other two musicians, and it's the same music, but it's coming at it from a different a different intention, or a different nuance. That's a better word, I think. Nuance
Yeah,
is the word. I saw. I think this is my. I just saw Amos Lee. Are you familiar with Amos
cool.
Lee?
Totally.
So every time he comes to Austin, my wife and I, we go to see him. And
Yes,
he.
actually, yeah, he's a friend. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Well,
Oh,
I met him at a gig recently, and then like we've connected a bit. Yeah, he's lovely
he's wonderful.
and
And
so
every time
good.
I see him, he's got a different band, with the exception of his his keyboardist, who's his writing partner, his musical director. And but every time he comes, he's playing those same songs, maybe a couple of new ones from a new record because of the tour. But and they sound the same, but they're the nuance. There's this like, you're like, oh, look at that. Like,
Yes.
his new version of Mission Bell was like, what in the world? This is like, gray
Yeah.
matter everywhere. It was just
But
incredible.
I mean, like that to me, I love that because I don't
Hmm.
know. I mean, that's the kind of music I like to play, and that's the kind of music I like to listen to, where it's not just like, okay, insert like play exactly the same every night. Hey, can you play the part just how the other person did? Like, and I feel so fortunate with Jason Mraz because he's always like, make it you, express
Yeah,
yourself. Like,
yeah,
let's make it different every night. And that's
yeah.
the school I come from. And like, I think of music and records and I get, as like photographs or something where like it's just capturing a moment. You're not
Hmm.
capturing perfection.
Hmm.
You're capturing a moment and you're trying to express that moment as coherently as possible, being like a reflection of that fleeting moment.
Hmm.
And I don't know, like trying to you should never try to recapture the same thing. Yeah.
I agree, absolutely. I mean, and that's what I think that's what music is supposed to be. Art is supposed to be. I mean, when you look at Starry Night, let's hope you don't feel the same thing every time you see something different.
Yeah.
My beliefs are Taoist in nature. So every time I read or listen to the Tao Te Ching, I hear something different.
Mm.
And or I'm frustrated by what I'm hearing because I'm not understanding it.
Okay.
And the same thing for music for me is,
Yeah.
like you got turned on to Jimi Hendrix when you were 7.
I started playing guitar when I was 7. I got turned on
Oh,
to Hendrix
sorry,
when I was 12.
12. Okay, so you were 12 years old. And did it hit right away?
God, I learned Purple Haze, and yes, it was like my progression is started playing the guitar at 7. I learned Wipeout for my 5th grade talent show, and I was like, oh, guitar's pretty cool. Like it wasn't even like registered how cool guitar is. Then I learned Hendrix, and I was like, oh my God, like
Hmm.
like I didn't realize the power of the instrument.
Yeah.
Either I Yeah, learning Hendrix was this like freeing, illuminating experience for me. And then I played in a family band with my 4 siblings. So it would
Right.
be like we would play Purple Haze, Foxy Lady, and Fire and Voodoo Child. And then I also, of course, learned a bunch of other stuff outside of that. But yeah, that was revelatory for me to
So
be, yeah.
it was immediately palatable for you.
Immediately there was a spark inside of me. Like I was notoriously a very bad guitar student. I was just like I played every single day with my siblings, but I was like I wanted to go out and play with my friends. I wanted to
Sure.
chill and watch MTV or like whatever. And then I learned Hendrix, and that was definitely a, a, a point for me where like things started to shift and I got really into the guitar. And then again in high school. So it was like 12 was a big one for Hendrix. And then like 14 when I started getting into like, or 15, Grant Green and more jazz guitar and just
Mhm.
like studying the instrument, not just,
Mhm.
picking it up and learning a song and not like it was this sort of like, okay, I actually need to start understanding what I'm doing.
So let's talk
Yeah.
about that because I've heard you say about what Hendrix did for you at such a young age. Now I heard Hendrix right around the same age, and
Cool.
and I did not get it.
Really?
Yeah,
So,
I did. I heard Hendrix and I heard Sly and the Family Stone at the same time, and I was like,
okay.
"Ooh, Sly." I
Yeah.
was all about Sly Stone and the Family Band. I was
Do you
all
remember?
about.
Was it a specific song? Like sometimes I think of things as like a gateway drug that then like,
Yeah, I
you know?
remember it was Purple Haze I heard first,
Mm-hmm.
and I also heard Dance to the Music. Those
Cool.
are the two songs I heard. And I
Yeah.
was just like, wow. And I also was really intrigued and really, really jazzed by the idea that, oh, wow, there's guys in the band, there's girls in the band, there's black people in the band, there's white people in the band.
Yeah.
This is cool. This is what music is. To me, that's like
Yeah.
what music is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but Hendrix to me, I don't know if I can even call it dissonance. I think maybe it was I just didn't have the maturity to understand what it was. And it wasn't until I started playing with this other musician who loved Hendrix that
Yeah.
kind of guided me into it. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I get it now. And now, I mean, to me, it's like, that's part of the Mount Rushmore of electric guitar in the 20th century.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, is there anybody, is there any musician or player it could be guitar or not guitar, that you have never, or you had a hard time at first getting to a point where you're like, that's not palatable for me?
And then I fall, and then
And
I
then
get into
eventually you
them.
fell in love? Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, oh yeah. I mean, Bob Dylan for me,
Mm.
he was Bob Dylan and Joanna Newsom. Um, Bob Dylan in high school, like Bob Dylan was like my dad's favorite and everyone in my dad's favorite. And I remember going to, like, now it's embarrassing, but like an early concert was Dylan and Paul Simon.
Yeah.
And God, I wish I could see that now, like, because Paul Simon is one of the best concerts I've ever seen. I saw him
Yeah.
almost, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago. And my mind was blown. That was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. So yeah, but like at the time, I think I fell asleep at the Hollywood Bowl and I was like, oh, God, Bob Dylan. Oh, and then he became, and he still is one of my favorites. But I adore him. So yeah, that was the one. And maybe that's obvious, but like for me, once I got into him, I was just so into him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joanna Newsom was another one in college. She was, yeah, like a popular indie artist during that time, and her voice, it was like Joanna Newsom. It's like she's singing. She has kind of a piercing voice and plays the harp, and
Hmm.
but once I was in, I was like, damn.
Hmm.
I like could only listen to her for a period of time.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah. So those things come to mind for sure.
That's cool. That's
But
cool.
also, yeah, because there's some music where I know it's great, and it like especially I think about guitar players being a guitarist, where it's like I know it's great, but it just doesn't hit, and I don't, for whatever reason, whether it's too clean, I don't like the tone. It doesn't feel, I just don't connect with it. And that's like honestly one of the beautiful things is, and I said that to my students, I try not to be like, I try not to put my biased opinion on them too much. Sometimes they'll bring in music and I'm just like, oh, I hate that guitar player. Not because they're bad, but just because it doesn't do anything for me emotionally.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I totally get it. Yeah, it's that's fascinating. It's so funny how the human computer takes information in and then says, no, not yet.
Yeah.
I was like that about Zappa too, when I think about it, early on when I was a kid. Like, Hot Rats was like, what in the world is this? And now it's like,
Yeah.
well, that's pretty brilliant.
Totally. Yes.
You know?
But I think that's why I think of like the gateway drug, even jazz guitar for me. Like I was kind of like, whatever. And I was like, Grant Green was my gateway drug into jazz
Yes.
guitar,
Yeah. Well, that's
because
the best way to go, right?
oh my God, it's so expressive and clear. And you feel like he's talking to you. And sometimes
Yeah.
I didn't understand that part of like the conversation. I was actually just listening this morning to Bossa Antigua, that Paul Desmond record with Jim Hall. And the way Jim Hall is playing feels like slightly different than how he normally plays. And I'm a big fan of Jim Hall's, but like it almost felt like Grant Green to me, where it feels more conversational than I feel like
Hmm.
how he normally plays.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And you are a teacher. Um, you're a doctor of, is it performing arts or is it guitar?
Doctorate of Musical Arts and
Doctor
guitar
of musical
performance.
arts, right? Guitar performance. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And at USC.
Hmm.
And what do you tell either a student or another guitar player that might come to you and they feel that they're in a learning rut? What are those things that you say, hey, this might get the fire stoked, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, like the truth is, like every student is different. I think one of the most important things is to be inspired. So it's whether that means listening to music, practicing guitar, or going to shows. Like for me
Mm,
personally, when I feel like I'm in a rut, I go out and listen to music that's inspiring to me, and also playing just to play. I mean, I have all these things that I'll try to make sure my students do that I feel like are helpful for me, which is practicing a lot slower, diving deep into one thing, recording yourself and listening back. Those are, I think, like recording yourself and listening back and the exploration process. And these are vague things because every student has different needs and it depends where they are in their journey and what's going on. But, I think so often, maybe always, but I think it's worse now than ever. It's like we're just inundated with information where
Hmm.
students are like, okay, scales, arpeggios, next scale, give me this next thing. I just want next, next, next. I'm like, hold on, like, okay, you just learned your drop twos, but you don't understand them. Like, it's not just knowing your drop twos, it's understanding your drop twos and how to use them and where to use them. So let's just juice. So I feel like juice the thing you learn and apply the
Yeah.
thing you learn in a bunch of different situations slowly. Um, but yeah, I feel like those are things that come to mind. But like, because I think sometimes feeling like you're in a rut is sort of a self fulfilling prophecy, and also about not being inspired sometimes. And it depends on the level, and it depends what's going on. But at least for me personally, and when I'm working with some of my, more advanced students, yeah, I think it's trying to figure out how to put some fire under you and excitement, because that really leads you to new places.
Yeah, that's great. I like the idea of you've learned something, now juice it. I like that. I'm going to remember that because
Yeah.
the whole idea of you're right. I mean, where everything's coming at us, it's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
It's absurd. So yeah, spend some time with it. Find the groove in it. Find have and put yourself in it. Own it. Have it become inert. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Um, I one of the things I do, I don't talk about it too much, is I've been a massage therapist for 30 years,
Cool.
and I own a massage school here in Austin
Wow.
with a good friend of mine. And when we teach students, we're always talking to them about, um, you know, your body mechanics, how you stand is going to not only protect your body from injury, but also enhance what you're doing with the client and what you're giving them.
Yeah.
They won't know that, oh, they'll just go, that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And had you stood a certain way, or worked a certain way in a certain posture, it's a whole different thing. So it's about learning these things and then making them inert.
Yeah.
So the same thing really, I think, is what you
Yeah.
just said too. Is just like you learned it, now own it.
Yes. And it's such a different thing. And for I think also I think the things I teach are the things I wish I had done, and once I
Mm,
started doing, it's when my guitar playing got light years better. It's when I
hmm
stopped rushing from one concept to the next and just kind of sat with it and applied it.
hmm
Like that process, the exploration process, which our ADHD brains don't, we have to fight it. I put my cell phone in another room when I practice now, unless I'm using my cell phone to record myself when I'm practicing. Like I
Right.
really try to be like, okay, keep these distractions away and just sit here and explore an idea and go deep with the idea. And that actually like saves you. So if you're like thinking, oh, I got to save time, I got to rush to the next thing, we're so busy, it's like,
Yeah.
what's actually going to save you a lot of time is sitting and doing one thing really well. And I say this as if I always do it, like I'm like, everything I teach or lessons I try to I have to relearn again and again. you know
Yeah. When you're working on something, whether it be practicing or writing, do you write on an acoustic instrument, or do you find yourself on an electric instrument?
Electric, I mean, it's about, it's whatever's inspiring, like I have these two acoustic instruments behind me because I'll pick them up and play something. I like to work in different spaces at my house, like
Yeah.
in my apartment. Like I have my guitar room, and that's where I practice really. And I mostly practice with my 335 plugged into my Princeton. Though it's weird though. I really should use my Nathan Jr. more because that's my Benson Nathan Jr. That's what I like gig with around town. Um, but it's just I think I want it to be ready to be on the go,
Right.
because
Right.
I typically gig a few times a week in LA. But yeah, I typically just sit down and practice. I have my metronome for whenever I'm using it, and I'll use my cell phone to record things. But if I'm yeah, so mostly on electric, and I'll use different guitars. I have my few favorites that I'll kind of go to. My 335, I have a couple tellies I love. The one I got off Craigslist, that
That's
52
that's
reissue,
that kind of pinky kind of
shell pink. Yeah, I got it
yeah.
off Craigslist. The guy did a bad. I want to say retrofitting, a bit of bad. Whatever. The guy did it himself. The shell pink. It was shell pink, and now it's some kind of weird salmon-ish, peachish color. And I just got a
Ooh.
Danny Gadden telly that even though the neck's thick, I love it. So I'll play that, and then the Andy Powers, his new line of Powers Electric. Those guitars are beautiful as well, and that's actually laying out right now. I've been playing that, and then
Oh, I
I
gotta
love
check
my
that
I
out.
love my Les Paul too. It's just
Yeah.
kind of heavy, so I'll take it on tour with me because it sounds freaking great. I got those P90s in it.
Yeah.
But for a whole gig standing, I don't. I mean, I do Pilates, but I'm not that big of a person. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, before Les passed away, I didn't really play Strats. Um, and
I know I see him behind you, right?
well, yeah, and now I've got 16 Strats. So
16. Okay, good. You make me feel better. I have three tellies, and God knows how many 335 style guitars, maybe seven, eight. But you're so much worse. This is great.
oh
I
yeah,
feel
no,
great.
this is you're only seeing a little chunk of what's going on here.
Same. I have guitars hidden in every single corner. Like yeah. I don't know how many I have. Maybe 40.
Yeah, if I'm at 40. So we're on par with each other. That's good.
16 Strats though. Jeez.
Yeah, you know what it is, and that's why I wanted to ask you about Strats. When I really started, another one of those things was I didn't understand the Strat, just like I didn't understand Hendrix. You know what I mean? And I'm being a
Yeah.
left-handed guitar player too, on
Oh,
top of it all.
cool.
So um, I just didn't, and it wasn't until honestly, it wasn't until I got to Austin almost 15 years ago that I started to pick up Strats and say, oh, I really like this neck pickup. I really like the vibe here, that that round sound, I
Yeah.
really enjoy that. And then I noticed that every single one that I picked up were completely different. They were like humans,
They are.
completely different from each other, which can be great and also can be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah. I mean,
What's your
yeah.
head as far as Strats?
Strats. I mean, that was like my growing up. I played a Strat. It was Blink.
Right.
I mean, I loved Blink 182, and I loved Hendrix. So I was
Mhm.
playing. I was playing a Strat. I still have that Strat. Um, it's just not my guitar. Like, and this could change. Like I've spoken to people who were like hated one guitar and now they love it. But Strats for me, they have such a specific sound. To me, other guitars are more versatile,
Mhm.
um, and but Strats only want to be Strats, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they fight you.
And I'm like kind of, and I think I yeah, I'm not like I'll pick up a Strat. It's not like I'm like get that Strat. Like I have a Strat and I've played it and I've taken it out. On gigs in the road and recording sessions. But I have plenty of guitars, and it's just not in my top five. It's not in the top
Mhm.
five of Molly's guitars that are in her
Mhm.
arsenal of things.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
I don't like to yuck someone's yum, you
No,
know.
no, 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 no.
And
I
it is
get it.
like 335s to me are so finicky.
Hmm.
And if I was just to like grab a random, or I get nervous. Um, I would be nervous just to get a random 335 because while that's the guitar I play the most, I
Hmm.
think it's one of the most finicky guitars. It can be so mid-rangey and just
Yes.
like so not good, but it is really like, yeah, the 335s and tellies are my favorites, but I find like, you know, tellies are easier if you're going to get a random telly, and even like Les Pauls are
Hmm.
easier if you're going to get a random Les Paul. The 335s, like those are some finicky guitars.
Yeah. It's funny. I agree with you. A lot of the 335s and dots, Epiphone dots in particular. I found one Epiphone, and I love pawn shop guitars.
Yeah,
Love them
cool.
because there's songs in there. There's mojo
Yeah,
in there. Who
Yeah.
knows what the history was? Who knows what that guy was or that gal was doing? Who knows
Yeah.
what they were, what that world was all about? And so this, you can see that dot right there. I don't know if you
Yes,
can see it.
I see it.
Yeah, it's an Epiphone dot. Picked it up. The guy wanted $250 for it. I talked him down to 157.
Wow.
And oh yeah, I'm good at that. And I got it home and I was like, man, there's something up with this bridge pickup. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Took the guitar apart, cleaned it, got it all ready. I said, I gotta look at this pickup. I pulled the pickup out and it says PAF, it's patent applied for. So I took a bunch of pictures of it and I sent it to some friends in Nashville and some friends in New York. And they said, by the looks of things, you got yourselves a 1960 something PAF. We got to examine. So they eventually somebody came to town, looked at it, and it was a 1961 PAF that somebody stuck in there. And I got it for
Wow.
$157.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
holy cow.
I gotta go
But
to a pawn
that
shop with you.
I always get great deals. But yeah, I'll take you shopping for a car too. I'll get you a great deal. I
Uh,
promise.
I believe you. I actually this last round I just got a new lease and I went through a car guy to help me with that.
Absolutely. You got to do that. Um,
Yeah.
how do you approach how do you approach when you're working with someone like uh, Jason or somebody else, and then you're doing your trio? How do they look at you and say, "Hey, I need you to do this. I need you to be this way," or do they hire you for you?
I mean, I everyone's different. I mean, I do think ultimately like I like to think like I get hired for me, but like with Jason, it's very much like you do you, express yourself. I want Molly to be on stage and there's like, specific things that are just like play this part because it's in the song. Like
Right.
but like even we just Jason did a kind of like disco-y record that has some like cool sort of Nile Rodgers guitar parts. And so I think I did play a Strat when I recorded on that. I did some Strat stuff, I think.
Hmm.
Um, but so I'll play like specific guitar parts, but then I'll even shift them a little bit because we're not I'm not playing that record. We're playing live. And so things will shift a little bit, but some of that will be like more guitar part-ish oriented with Zane, who I tour with as well. We'll work with a musical director and it is like way more specific, like play this, let's get the exact tones that we're looking for that are going to work best for this. But there's some shifting, where I will and especially as you get more comfortable with songs and they evolve more, I feel like you can infuse a little bit more of yourself into it because things change. Like, I don't know, I would never want, like, it's nice when things slightly shift and you play things a little bit differently each night, like you're because then you're interacting with the band,
Hmm.
and interacting with the artist. Um, so yes, Jason is like I'm actually after this gonna prep to we have rehearsals this week and a couple gigs, um and in the email it was like you do you or like some version of that or like bring yourself into the music, and it's just like I love that because that's what I believe should be happening. And like even with I have a rehearsal on Monday with the guys for the trio music, and it is that. It's like I have a specific idea of what I want for my music. It's, Molly Miller Trio. But what do you like? Also, like, you guys do you in this section, play your
Yeah.
parts, like, express yourself because it gives you more ownership. Like, it gives all of us more ownership. And then
Hmm.
we're more invested, we're more involved in the show, we're
Hmm.
present because it is like, let's listen. I love, like, there's some moments in the new music where it is like, it is very different every night. It's like, and I love that. Oh my God, where like you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nothing will make you more present than not knowing what's going to happen next, you know? And like for me, music that like I love how present you have to be. I hate being on stage thinking, oh God, I should do my laundry tonight. What should I have for dinner? Like that for me, I'm like, don't. I just want to be there, like
Right.
just like just present because so often, especially in the 21st century or what, it's just like in this AI, cell phone, whatever world. It's just like our brains are everywhere.
Hmm.
So I think telling someone to, sorry, now let me make this long rant to come back to it. If you're
Go
saying,
for it.
hey, you do you, that means, hey, be here. Like to me,
Yeah.
that's also what it means. Like, be here. Let's engage together. Let's do something together. And God, like that fires me up. And I think it fires everyone else up on stage too. I love that, there's a cliff. Let's just hold hands and jump together and we're going to land. Like we trust each other. We know we're going to land.
Right. I love that. That's great. And yeah, I mean, yeah, once again, nuance, intention. And the audience, if you were phoning it in, the audience would know there was something that, oh, the music sounded good, but there were, the
Yeah.
vibe. It's about that vibe. It's about that groove, the nuance, the intention. The Chinese have a word, it's called li, which means
Mm,
intent or intention. And
cool.
the stronger the li of the individual, the stronger the outcome, the better the outcome. So like the chef with a very strong li has a line waiting around the block for people to get into his restaurant.
Yeah.
I really believe in that. I
Me
think that is
too.
such a truism, and something that I think a lot of people miss, and the mediocre are always at their best.
Mediocre are always at their best.
The mediocre are always at their best. We can't do that. We have to. It's always like, okay, how do I step it up today? How do I do it? How do I, be better than yesterday?
Well, I think that's like that's what an artist is. I think the beautiful thing, I like to say this to my students, like the beautiful thing is like there's always more to learn. I think and that you
Yeah.
can see that as being overwhelming or as
Hmm.
exciting. But how
Hmm.
cool, that no matter how amazing you are at your instrument or your craft, there's more to learn. And like that to me should is exciting. Like and that's why I think, when you asked about the records changing, I'm like my goal is to always express myself more coherently and like yeah, because that's like what the goal is like expressing yourself. And when you say intent, I think it's also having clarity of what you're trying to say, and
Yeah.
being as clear as possible allows you to do that. Yeah, I don't know, having the intent too. I feel like they're all really connected.
Yeah, absolutely. So we mentioned earlier at the beginning of this, you had the new single. It's called Hope. Hopes aren't dreams,
Yeah.
and it's part of what's to come in the next few weeks, right?
Yeah, so I have I like love recording music live. I love the immediacy of it. So I went into my friend Chris Nelson's studio, which I believe they're calling White Noise. I knew I wanted to put out some new music. I'm gonna do a record this year, a new record because I have, I don't know, 10-ish new songs and still writing more, maybe 12. I don't know. I have enough for a record and I'm gonna keep writing new songs over the next couple months and then do a record this year. But in the meantime, I just wanted to put out some like a mixture of covers and originals. And so I have four band songs and three solo guitar songs. Because I also love, arranging and playing solo guitar. Those are probably my two favorite scenarios of playing, or trio and solo. Um, and so every 2 weeks, there's going to be one of those songs that comes out, and all of them were recorded live in one day. I went to my friend's studio, yeah, Chris Nelson, and Leo Marquez too. The two of them together recorded it, mastered and mixed, and did everything audio, and helped produce it too. Um, but yeah, it's me, Tamir Barzilai, and Andre De Santana. And so, yeah, it was all done like in a day. I think in like
Oh,
a
wow.
short day too. It was like I think I got there around 10 or 11. We started recording at noon. We did band stuff with a couple breaks, like 12 to 4, and then three solo guitar songs from 5 to 7 or something. And
Hmm.
all of them were just done in a few takes, if not less. Um, no overdubs. And so you'll hear a couple, I don't know, not wrong notes, but you'll hear the live thing. And I
Hmm.
love like those that's my favorite music, is live and raw with,
Hmm.
oh, they whatever. Like I don't know if I should call it a mistake, because it's not mistakes, they're just, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah,
Rick,
that's what you're going to be hearing.
Rick Emmett from Triumph. Remember Triumph, the '80s rock band? He
Okay,
just
yeah.
Rick just put out a solo guitar record called 10 Telecaster Tales, and
Cool.
it's really really great. And he said to me, he goes, "Yeah, I left the clams in."
Yeah. I mean, I was like listening to this new song and like that just came out, Hopes Aren't Dreams. And that'll probably be, well, we'll probably do a studio version because I want to do it slightly differently. Um, we'll do a studio version, but this is a live version. And I was listening and there's something I do on there. There's a couple things I do on there that I wanted to go in an overdub, but it's like, nope, that's what it is.
There it is. Yeah,
That's what it is. You
beautiful.
know, one moment in the melody, one moment in the solo. But yeah,
Yeah,
so that music will be coming out, and I'm excited about it. And it feels like it's, especially the trio stuff, is representative of kind of what's to come.
cool. So the tour starts June 10th.
Yes, we're gonna do. Yeah, basically, we're doing Summerfest with Jason, and I was like, hey guys, why don't we go out a few days early and do a few days afterwards? So, and then I got Pitts this like some people in Pittsburgh reached out to me about doing a few shows out there. So then our tour got
Mhm.
extended. So I was like, this all happened kind of last minute. So we have a couple awkward days off, but that's okay. Yes, we have a few days in Pittsburgh, 10th, 11th, and 13th. And then something just fell through in the middle, which I was frustrated about, but hey, you know what? So it goes. And then, yeah, we got Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, we're doing Evanston Space, and Cedar Rapids, we're playing the Ideal Theater out over there. And then we play Summerfest with Jason, and then we're going to fly to New York. And we got the Falcon June 22nd. We have the Bitter End June 23rd in
Ooh,
Manhattan. And then we have Lunatica or Lunatico, I don't know how to say it, but in Brooklyn. And I've played that spot a few times, and I love it there. So we have, yeah, like a handful of gigs, 10 gigs, and East Coast, Midwest, and then we fly back. And on the 29th, we play LA at Healing Force of the Universe, a record
cool,
store.
cool.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to get to see you in Austin anytime?
Oh my gosh, I do want to do an Austin show. I just, yeah. Hey, let's get a Texas tour going. You know, I'm like, great, let's set it up. I'm ready.
All right. I'll call a couple of people.
Okay, great. I mean, I'm here for it. You know, I need to set up a couple more, and I know also in October I'm playing a couple. We're doing in Paso Robles, a spot I love, Libretto, and then also Kumba Jazz in Santa Cruz. So I need to set
Nice.
up a couple more tours. Um, yeah, I just
Yeah.
kind of I got my little fingers can only email so many people at once. So in need of a booking
Well,
agent.
yeah. I mean, what do they call that? When you're doing all the all the jobs,
Yeah.
it's hard. I know. I've been
I
there.
know.
I've
I know.
been there.
I'm doing my best, but between yeah, it's nice. USC just ended for the summer, so I
Right.
got to set up a couple more tours and get the records together, and then yeah, and I have a couple other things brewing. So yeah,
When do they resume at USC? In August? End of August?
mid-August, end of August. Yeah, so
Mid-August? Yeah.
I have yeah, a good few months to just be a guitar
Yeah.
player.
Yeah. Nice. I like that. Before I
Yeah.
let you go, though, I want to do something that honestly I've never done with a guest before, but hopefully you'll
Cool.
indulge me. I want to play
Okay.
word. I want to play word association with you.
Oh,
I'm gonna
fun.
name.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Oh
name a
man,
guitarist.
I should have had more matcha.
I'm gonna name a guitarist, and you tell me the first thing that comes into your head.
Wow. What if I don't know the guitarist?
You will.
Okay.
Yeah. Grant Green.
Groovy.
Perfect. Pat Metheny.
Chorus.
Chorus. Lexicon primetime delay. Okay. Um, Jimi Hendrix.
mm, expression. I'm thinking of his wah. You know, he's like figured
Mhm.
out how to be like how to express himself with the with. I mean, that's not right. I don't know, like
I think
wah.
expression's good. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, because I
that
think
was the
about it, I
first
was like
word that
wah wah
fell
wah
out.
wah wah. You know, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of his expression pedal. You know, that wah. I'm figuring all
Right.
that. Yeah.
Right.
A new way to express yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
only one word, right? I'm only allowed one word, not the
Well,
25 I'm giving you
whatever
right
comes in,
now.
it could be a sentence, whatever comes into your mind.
Oh, cool. Okay, I
Yeah.
thought it was one word.
Okay, here we go. Another one. Tom DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge. Oh my God. I think of middle school Molly. Tom DeLonge. It was like an early crush for me. I love Tom.
Oh, he's a
So yeah,
cutie. He's a cutie.
yes, I think of young fangirl. Yeah, he was actually at one of the Jason rehearsals, and I didn't know because the tour manager for Jason's also friends with those guys because he tour managed them or did like account management accounting for them or something back in the day at a show I was at when I was in middle school. He's always like, that makes me feel so old. And Tom was at a rehearsal. I was like, you didn't tell me. He was one of my biggest crushes when I was like 12. I was so upset I didn't get to meet Tom.
That would have been a great picture.
Oh God, I know. I need to meet him.
Okay, last one. Molly Miller.
Uh, that's too hard. To the internet, I have to tell people what I think about. Honestly, it's hard because it depends on the moment. Some days it's like, you got it, girl. Some days it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Molly Miller, new music out now. That's what I'll say.
There
Molly
you
Miller,
go. There
Moody
you
Mill.
go.
Go to Instagram or go to my website to learn more about Molly Miller. There you go. Moody Mill on Instagram and mollymillermusic.com. Go check her out.
You are amazing. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Thank you, Mark. It was fun.
I really appreciate it. Folks, go to mollymillermusic.com. It's a really actually a very good website. The merch section is super cool.
Thank you.
I'm thinking of grabbing that one workbook. I think I could use it. The one on the cage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some cage stuff in there, but it's not only it's string theory. So yeah, I'll send
Yeah.
it to you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a great website. Check it out, y'all. Absolutely. And of course, on Instagram and on Facebook. Are you on Threads too, or?
I'm not really.
Okay. I
I'm
just got on there
overwhelmed.
last night.
How is it? I know. I'm like, I don't
It's
need
okay.
anything else to look at.
It's Instagram. If Instagram and Twitter had a baby.
Yeah, Twitter was too scary of a space for me, so I had to get. I'm not Twitter. I was thinking TikTok. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, TikTok I'm not doing. I can't, it's like Vines. Remember Vines? You've got to
For a
remember
hot sec.
Vines.
I
Yeah.
don't vaguely, but yes.
Folks, check out this musician. I can't tell you enough how much your music has really, really just brightened my life. It's been really,
Thank you
really
so
wonderful.
much. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you.
Great stuff. I can't wait to see what comes out next. It's so nice to have a favorite new guitar player.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah.
I wish you all the
me.
best. Have a great rest of the day. Have a wonderful tour. Stay in
Thank
touch.
you.
Let us know. We'll be out there promoting you on social media and all that stuff. So
Thank you. And I'm ready for Austin. Let's go.
right on. Yeah. Saxon Pub, New World Theater. New World Theater. You'd sound great at the New World Theater.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably reach out to you. I need to start. Next tour. Not
Yeah.
June, not this summer. Maybe
Yeah.
fall sorry, 2026. My hip. Sorry. I was sitting in a funny way.
It's Pilates. I'm telling you.
I need to go do Pilates maybe. Wow. No, I don't know. Maybe.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All right. Peace.